Yeah, thank you very much indeed, Cathaoirleach. Might I at the outset say that I think that last contribution was quite a remarkable contribution. I relate to it on so many levels because of my age and because I grew up in a similar society to Senator Craughwell. I relate to what the things he said. It was a remarkable contribution and very profound, and I commend it for considerable reflection on a number of fronts. Having said that, could I at the outset thank the Minister for his work and thank the committee members here. And I want to say, Minister, that I actually think your apology is very appropriate on a number of levels. I think it's appropriate coming from a man of such patent sincerity and commitment in dealing with this. It's appropriate in that it's taken place in the Senate, which has, to quote recent phraseology, always been the place for minority voices and major change. So it's not an inappropriate setting. I think it's a fulsome and good apology, and I think it's appropriate coming from the Minister. And what may follow, if other apologies follow, well and good, but I think it stands alone, and I would say to the people in the gallery and to their friends outside that they should value and accept this apology as very wholesome and very thorough and very full. I just want to allude to one thing. I'm very impressed by Senator Craughwell's contribution, and I want to allude to one aspect of it, because I grew up in that same world, and it's hard for a lot of you here to relate to that, and understandably, and thank God you don't relate to it. But can I say that he has a point about there will be mothers who, for this, will be very traumatic. People who have lived, if you like, lived in a secret, lived with a dark secret for years, held it from their own new children, if you like, from the children of their new relationship, and held it from their grandchildren. And as Senator Craughwell says, this can explode on them now. So I know there is a clause there, and I have heard the Minister say that their wish for privacy will be relayed to the victim, and that's fair enough. But I do say to the Minister, maybe in his response, he might return to that very fundamental question, and that might merit a considerable amount of thought, of support, of counselling, of how we deal with the mothers. I think it's a very relevant point, and I don't mind dwelling on it a little. I think you brought a very interesting dimension to the debate. That's not to in any way detract from all the other things that are correct. It was a horror that people's identity was kept from them. It was a horror that there were illegal adoptions. It was a horror that there was a whole new identity created for them, a false identity, and that they couldn't access the truth. Of course, that was wrong. So it is important that there will be full information available now, that there will be a pathway to that there will be tracing services, that there will be genealogical services, that there will be counselling, that there will be full disclosure. And that's all well spoken of and well documented, and I think that's good. And as you said very well, Minister, I think you summed it up in a nutshell when you said the shame is ours and not theirs. So I think also children abroad being included is important. I think it's so important, and you wouldn't need a degree in science to understand that the medical records are very important. Nor would you need a degree in science to understand that the early life care dimension is very important. I relate to that as a teacher and as a parent, that it would be very important that they'd be made aware of that. So I think, and I know when I share this with Senator Craughwell, and I commend you, by the way, acting Cathaoirleach at the moment, in the way Senator Craughwell does. You display great courage in the way you speak to this House. And you are giving extraordinary leadership to others in that regard, and courage to others, and support and hope. Now, I relate to this in the way that, what was I going to say to you? All of those supports are necessary. The early life care is necessary, but I was about to make the point too that the holistic care that is identified by Senator Craughwell be understood. And I would just say, this is a wonderful, yeah, I knew I got slightly distracted in the point I want to make. I think while we might, and some people might understandably be a little impatient for more change and for people like myself and Senator Craughwell and for our generation, this is a monumental evening. This is a momentous evening. This is transformational. This is progressive. This is major movement. And it's wonderful movement. And we celebrate it, we laud it, we commend it, we're proud to be part of it. And in many ways, people used to say, I'd love to live to see a united Ireland. Well, I'd say, people, I am delighted that I live to see this and that I'm part of this. And I just will finish on this. Acting Cathaoirleach, our last Cathaoirleach, I'll finish by saying that we all owe the people on these galleries an apology. We all owe you an apology. Whether it was in the attitude of the men, whether it was in the attitude of society, whether it was the fact that we pushed away responsibility. On so many fronts, we all owe you an apology. Those of us, particularly who lived through that time, owe you an apology. Those who didn't owe you an apology, I suppose, for not getting onto this quicker. So you are in our hearts and our thoughts, and we really treasure you and we respect you. But we do owe you that apology, all of us. So look, I'll leave it at this. I think it's a very important evening, Cathaoirleach. I think it's an evening I probably thought I'd never live to see, but it's wonderful to see it. And it's just as important to see this as a united Ireland. Thank you.
Thank you very much.